Hey, folks, welcome.
Oh, they
Troy
caught
was.
me. They caught me caffeinating.
We were geeking out on audio stuff. That's why Troy made this stream start late because he's asking me all these inane questions about audio, and I had to suffer
I
through
don't.
them before.
I don't have the button. I don't have the start stream button. So
I have the button. I have the button. No, what I was saying just real quick is these Rode. So we were talking about these Rode Go 2 microphones, or the Rode Go microphone versus the Rode Go 2. So the Rode Go 2s, like we were saying, record internally, but Rode, in their infinite wisdom, they record in a proprietary Rode format that only their app can access. So you gotta, once you get you got everything, you're sitting at your desk, you gotta import all the footage or all the files into their app and then export them as WAV files. You can't just mount the damn mic and drag the audio file over to your hard drive. You got to convert it. Conversely, I don't have the DJI mics yet. I don't know if I'm going to get them, but the DJI mics, I believe, will mount. So you plug them in and they mount. What's going on? Did you switch sides? What I got the file? I don't know. The chat is just on their own little discussion over there.
I know it's great. It's great.
We're talking about platypods and we're talking about audio. Nothing about critiques here, though.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So just to give context, what we're talking about audio is that I want to start to do some interviews that we would normally do, creating content for like IPPD. I would normally do them on Zoom, and because I have a lot of the hyper Zoom there.
There you go. Sorry about that. That was me.
um, I want to do these. I want to kind of do the interviews in person, and being a photographer, not a videographer, and not being an audio guy, it's like a whole new world of looking at gear and specs and what does
Yeah.
what and why do I need? Yeah,
I told you, like I was texting you, right? It is close, though not a 1-to-1 match, but it is close to being analogous to cameras and lenses, right? In terms of expense and use case and all of it, right? So
James Glennie says audio is like '90s tech. Nobody uses that anymore.
yeah, okay. I wish.
So I can take back the very expensive microphone and the incredibly expensive Mix Pre 3 and
Dude, I'll tell you, it's so funny. Maybe it's not analogous to photography because camera gear is timeless, right? You feel like you're buying something that's like, like a lens in the glass feels like, I'm going to hand this down to my descendants, right? It's real.
Right,
If you get the right stuff. This audio
right.
gear feels very much not transient, but it doesn't feel as permanent as optical gear. Like for example, this thing right here, which I got to do a review on actually. I was telling you, Troy, this is the Clip Mic 2, and it's a lav
Yeah.
mic. It comes with a bunch of connectors. Right now I've got the lightning connector on it, but you can plug in USB-C or whatever. It comes with all these different adapters, so you can plug it into different devices. And the cool thing about that thing is it, like all this other stuff that we're talking about, it kind of obviates that because you can basically carry just that little mic around or a couple of them. If you want to interview somebody, you say, "Hey, go grab this clip mic." I forget what the name of the app is. Go grab the app for free. They plug the microphone in, and now from your iPad or another iPhone, you can monitor levels of everybody. That's plugged in. So I got 3 of those mics, so I could literally monitor 3 mics from an iPad Mini and do a 3-person full-on interview and get 3 distinct wave files out of it. With like what, less than an eighth of a pound of weight in my bag.
Well, the only downside to that is, right, is that you hope that the person's phone you're connecting to has a clean connector port, hasn't recently dropped it in the water, has it charged properly.
That is the risk.
And
Those
there's
are
your
all the
audio.
things. Yeah.
Oh
So
my God.
you could carry around. I have 2 iPhones now, right? So one for this gig I'm working on, and then my regular one. So and I have my iPad. So theoretically, I control 2 iPads. So I can make sure they're both Chars, they both have the right software, on both iPhones rather, and then mic people up and go from there. But yeah, there's no perfect solution yet. But we're, you saw that picture I sent you, a table full of gear. It is because it's about the gear. When somebody says, "Hey, can you do a podcast with 6 people remotely?" Like,
the last wedding that I shot, I had videographers at both weddings, but the last wedding that I shot, the videographer brings out a case and he opens up the case and it was like this super secret spy toolkit because it was all these different microphones and all these different recording devices, and he's like, how am I gonna mic that? I'm like, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
And then he's working with the DJ. Okay, what kind of connector do you have? What kind of interface can I connect into here? Well, let me see if I got that cable.
Yeah. It's a world.
No.
It is a literal industry. Yeah. Yeah.
Simple.
Well, we'll talk.
That
is that your new Canon? That's a nice looking Canon there. Very nice.
I gotta clean it. It's all covered
Blasphemy.
in sunscreen and sweat from my last wedding.
Hey, it's used. That camera wants to be used. That's its native habitat. It wants that.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this stream. Let's do this critique, folks. This is critique number 193. The topic was fire, and Troy, you will be pleased to know that you were the one. I had seen in the Apple keynote, what was it, last year or year before, that you could do this thing where you could extend your screen to, or let your mouse control 2 computers simultaneously that are both signed into the same Apple ID.
Yes.
So I was doing that. But did you know, you probably do know this, but did you know that my setup is a Mac Mini right here, and then to the right there is my MacBook Pro. Never the two shall meet, right? Not only can I drag my mouse back and forth, but now I'm using the MacBook Pro as a second monitor. So it's a display right now.
Yep.
Here's the MacBook Pro. This is MacBook Pro right here. That's it. Check out the whole thing. I love it. So and then back to us right there. So now I have a second monitor without having to take up desk space with a second.
I know. It's phenomenal. It's what is it called? Universal control is one of the new things that was implemented. If you're an Apple guy, just open up your iPad or something, not your phone, but your iPad next to your laptop or your tower, and just the mouse just floats across. You can drag files. I showed Kira last night, and she's like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, it's magic. You can't drag files, but you can copy and paste them. You can copy one. And
no, you can drag files. No, you can absolutely drag files.
You can drag. We'll have to try that after the stream. Like, do that in your own time, Johnson. Sorry, sir. All right, let's do this thing. So, photo critique number 193. First, and this is your topic, by the way, because you are the pyro in the group. And you came up with this. Let's bring this up here. Let's take this. Oops, I got zoom on you on this screen too. Okay. All right, here we are on the MacBook Pro, no less. First shot up is from, let's go ahead and reload this just in case.
Oh yeah. Yeah, still getting used to that new format.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to open up all the comments, right? Like you gotta look for that.
You gotta, and they can slip by, and then you're in trouble. All right, so 19 comments on this one. For some reason, I got a crazy slow internet connection today. Stephen Sharp is number one. He says tungsten in Troy's fire pit. Oh.
I remember doing that. Oh, that's awesome.
What did you do? What was this?
Well, this was at F64 Live. This was like the after party, and this is my fire pit in the backyard. So I always have fire tricks. So I have tungsten and magnesium, and I make a mix of it. But we were throwing it in the fire, and tungsten crackles and sparks if you get it like a really fine powder. Is really, really fun. So we were all photographing it, and I was throwing handfuls of fire stuff in the fire. So
that's beautiful. Nice.
Yeah, that's what his. I think he shot that with like his little Fuji or something that he brought.
So what do you think of the shot on its merits of capturing fire?
I think it's really great, and not knowing right away that it was the shots from my fire pit, I thought, ooh, that is so cool. I want to do that. Um, I like the fact that I can see the smoke in the background. I like the fact that we see some sparks going on in there, and that the fire is front and center. I like that a lot, and even leaving a little bit of the headroom for the smoke to leave. You know, I tend to like to crop out dead space, so I might take some of that down. But
Hmm.
for a fire, I like the fact that it's leaving. So,
Yeah. What fascinates you about fire, Troy Miller? What is it? What is it about
well,
fire?
fire's alive. It's never the same, right? Like you'll never see fire that looks the same as other fire. They look similar, but they're never the same. They're always changing. And it's really, really, really hard to photograph and make it look cool. Plus, it's just reminds me of being in the desert and camping and all those things too. So
Yeah, yeah, and you can't. It's like Snowflake, right? You can't take two identical photos, even
right.
a millionth of a second apart, right? It's always going to be different.
Yep, yep, yeah. Fire is really challenging to photograph. So, and we have some good ones in here, definitely. So I do like this. I would probably take some of the rocks like in the lower right hand corner and along the bottom edge and some of those brighter things. I would probably try to take them down a little bit.
Yeah,
But that's just to kind of like keep them from escaping the edge of the frame. But
yeah.
it's a fun shot.
It's chaos. It's chaos. Love it.
It's chaos, yeah. And if you're ever gonna play with fire, magnesium is fun. It just burns really bright, so it doesn't really do a lot. It just burns really bright. Um, Tungsten and titanium are really really fun. If you know anybody who's a welder, if they have a like a TIG welder, they have tungsten rod that they use. If you can grind that into really fine powder, what they use for when they sharpen them, throw that stuff in the fire. It
Mm,
is spectacular.
mm.
Yeah. So there's
But
your
always
fire
be
tip.
careful. Always be careful. Don't do any of this in a dry field in California. Do
No,
not,
no,
please.
because there's not enough water to put the fire out, so it's
No.
taking you down.
Hey, but we got plenty of almonds, right?
You're so bad.
God. Oh my god. All right. Next up. Thank you, Stephen Sharp, for that. You rock.
Thank you.
All right. Next up. Being very careful not to miss any. Oh, there's a Seymour. See? There's Seymour right there. You see that? That's the one that gets us. Okay, there's nothing in there. Or just a comment. Irvin B. Penn says Fireplace Cemetery.
Yeah, nice infrared. I really dig it. I'm immediately I am detracted by the overexposure of the clouds. So right away my brain's like, what is going on with those clouds? So
Yeah.
maybe there's some detail in there you can pull that back.
What? So compositionally, anything like other than the clouds? I feel like I see a tilt in here.
Like you see what in there?
A tilt from like I don't know if it's me or if it's just a shadow play, but I feel like the whole thing is rotated to the right slightly clockwise.
I think so. Yeah, even looking at the chimney in there, it's definitely tilted to the right. But in the context, first of all, I love the photo. I think the photo is great. I like the fact that we've got like this big beautiful tree on the right, and then you've got this sort of dead tree on the left, and then you find this little tower in the middle. Without the title, Irvin, I wouldn't know that was a fireplace. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't know. So in as a standalone photo, I think it's really cool. In the context of the fire category, though, I don't know that is a fireplace. I have no way of knowing. Without your title. So
What would you have done different? I mean, so yeah, I'm really curious about this because this is one of those instances of with great power comes great responsibility, right? You have the power of infrared. Should you use it or should you not use it? In a situation like this, is infrared adding to the overall narrative of the story, or should Irvin have, maybe walked a couple yards closer to the fireplace and made it more of a hero of the scene and maybe even foregone the infrared or maybe used it? I don't know. What do you think?
you always have such great questions, and we've been doing this for so long, and I'm like, that is such a good observation. Um,
Sorry, it's what I do.
it, in this context, I think that infrared is appropriately used, because imagine that this is probably a dark green grass and trees, and even if that tree on the right is like a yellow tree or something, it's all going to blend together, right? It's all going to be darker tones. And so in this context, the infrared kind of creates this nice tonal layers that I think create separation. So I think infrared is a good choice here. If you're shooting this to represent the topic of fire, you absolutely have got to lean into that fireplace.
Yeah.
Right now, this is really a photograph of a giant tree and some pretty clouds, right? The fireplace really is not even secondary. It's sort of a third mystery element that we don't even really know what it is, right? So definitely coming in closer, trying to get the opening of the fireplace, trying to find the old foundation, isolating it against the sky, maybe against that old tree, to kind of really show that old decrepit cemetery vibe, you know.
Yeah. Even some detail work on that fireplace would have been interesting. Like, I can imagine there's moss growing on it, and all kinds of things that would just look fantastic if you had a macro lens, or or just close up, right? Just to kind of do kind of an abstract study of that fireplace.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe get in front of the fireplace and set that tree behind it on fire and get that shot.
Don't. Do not light the tree on fire unless it's your property and it's your tree. Don't burn the...
because fire tends to procreate to other people's properties.
Yeah. I love fire, but I don't destroy things. Let's just be clear, right? Like, I light other stuff on fire. But yeah, you definitely, look, Irvin, this is a great shot. I love the shot. I love the fact that you used infrared, which and you're playing to my loves, right? But we don't see fire anywhere, right? We wouldn't know.
So the other thing that I wanted to throw at you on this shot is, again, is this just me? I got new glasses, so maybe it's just my glasses. So the border, right? The border doesn't look uniform all the way around. For example, on the right side, the border looks thinner slightly than on the left side, and the same with the top and the bottom. Are you seeing that? Yeah. Is that what do you think about that, and how can he avoid that in the future?
I don't know how he built it with the border, so the methodology would be different for every different way, but it's definitely not centered. And I think that when you run a really thin sort of a keyline level or a very small border, that it should be even all the way around.
And except when it shouldn't, right? Because in some situations for competition, we've talked about that before, where you can use non-standard or non-uniform borders as a compositional element, right?
Correct.
When does it make sense to do that, and when does it not make sense to do that?
When it's hard. Like, the next image would be an image you could do that in, because it it gives a false sense of space. Right. So, like, in this image, it wouldn't make any sense to create a chin or create any additional spacing. But in some images, like in the next image, it would, because there's an object that could move into the foreground.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Aside from that, my when I look at this shot, I think, and we've been saying this forever and ever, right? Like, literally dozens and I guess hundreds. We're almost able to say hundreds. But it's like, who's the leading character and who are the supporting characters in this story right here. And like you said, right, as it stands, it's that big tree on the right side. So my eye goes to that. Then I get distracted by the sky, because the sky looks a little blown out. So that, and then I look at the rest of the image and I see that thing in the middle, and I'm not sure what it is initially. So what is that? I would not, if I didn't know that there was a fire critique, I wouldn't put it together that that's a fireplace. So, I'd want to see, I don't know, all the things we talked about. Zoom in, do some detail study, etc.
Yeah.
So, all right, Irvin, thank you. I hope those comments were helpful to you. And our next shot is from Stamfley. Look at that. Late
Yeah.
apex at turn 6. Let's take a look. Look at that. That's
Yeah,
awesome. And look at
fun.
the sparks in front of him, too. There's somebody else that just made it through that turn.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, and you're right. Is that sparks? Yeah, I guess it is, isn't it?
Yeah. I feel like those are
No, it's
sparks.
not.
Is it just
No.
dirt?
Yeah, it's rocks.
Oh,
Yeah,
that can't be
it's
good.
rocks. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. If you look in the lower right-hand corner, you can see the gravel. And it looks like maybe somebody came out of the gravel pit and they drug it across the track. Yeah.
Yeah. That wouldn't be good if this was a motorcycle race at all.
No, no. I love the shot. I think my favorite thing about this shot is well, one, I really love the composition. I think that it should be lifted a little bit in the frame instead of dead center horizontally. Maybe I know that you left that road up there at the top in the background, which I think is a nice touch, but putting the car right in dead center horizontally, I'm not a huge fan, but it's not a problem. But I love the fact that we can see that the car is in a hard G turn, right? Like the car is leaning ever so slightly into the left as it's turning right, which is great. I just love that. And then that little flame coming from the exhaust there is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good timing.
Yeah, that's a good shot. I was really curious because I know you have a motorsports background. I think you said you used to build cars like this or some kind of vehicles.
Trucks. We used to build off-road trucks, race trucks. Class
Like
4, class 3, class 14.
like Bigfoot type trucks? Monster
No,
Rally?
like desert racing trucks, like score events and things like that, like desert races.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the one Mad Max, basically, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, without the guitarist hanging off the front of the
Oh my
bridge.
god, I think guitars is the best. I love it. All right, cool. Yeah, I was curious what you'd say about this shot, considering your background. I'm curious what people in the community say about this one as well. I know we have some motorsports aficionados in there that shoot this stuff and understand the dynamics. From a layperson's perspective, I love this shot. I did think down here were sparks initially, because my brain saw the flames and I'm like, okay, somebody in front is making it around there and making sparks. But yeah, it makes sense that that's gravel. I was especially curious about the line, the road up here at the top. And I like it in there because I feel like it adds a Z, sort of that Z effect to it. And I know where this car has been. But I could see how it would be distracting. So I don't know if you wanted to get rid of it. Would you keep this composition and just, content aware nuke that line out of there, or would you crop down? Like what would you do?
Well, I love the line, and I love the fact that I know that that's a part of the track back there. But what I'm struggling with is the fact that the car is dead center horizontally. So
Yeah.
maybe the solution is to crop up from the bottom. It cleans up the bottom, gets rid of that trap in the right-hand corner. And we don't need to see the edge of the track, right? We don't need to see that line. We know he's on a track. So maybe just crop up until that most of that line is gone. And then I think we have a better composition, and it brings the car down in the lower right third of the frame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And you wouldn't get caught in this area over here wondering what this is too, because you'd eliminate a lot of that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, really cool shot.
Yep.
Though.
That's what TimberGeek said too. I might crop the part of the foreground. Yeah.
You just stole that comment from him. See?
I didn't. It's delayed, right? So
let's bring TimberGeek up so TimberGeek can have his proper credit for having that suggestion. Plagiarism, man. No, that's a cool shot. I can
neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah, really cool shot though. All right, Stamfley, thank you for sharing that fire image. All right, moving right along. Let's see. I'm taking my time, not missing anybody's shots. Here we go. James Glennie. James is in the chat. James says, don't play with your food, play with your fire. Listen to that.
Yeah. I really like this image.
I knew you would. You know what?
So this is one of those kind of things where photographing fire is not easy to do. And, to get the right shape of cup, to get, the right fuel in there, to get it lit, and then, shoot so that they're not just sputtering all, like, it's not easy,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I love this. This is amazing. I'm a big fan. And the reflection. Gosh, what a nice ad. So
This one, James Glennie, is going to be my iPhone wallpaper for probably a month or so. So I like it. Really cool.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. I'm wondering, James, as you're in the chat, is this a single exposure or did you stack some flames together?
Ooh, good
Because
question.
sometimes to get it to melt the acrylic paint. Oh yeah, because sometimes I found that stacking the flames can give me a more uniform look in a situation like this, especially like in a campfire that I really want to make it look like it's full of fire. I might
Yeah.
just shoot and I might just bring in a couple extra flames from somewhere.
And because flames are so random, it's not like you got to be in perfect registration, right? Uh-oh, there he goes.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, very good.
4 shots blended.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, nice. And that's a technique if you want to photograph fire. Like a lot of people see, like these beautiful campfires, or something that's been dropped into a scene or whatever. It rarely, I mean, I would say almost never can you just photograph a fire and just be like, oh, that's perfect, that was perfect. Not without a lot of manipulation.
Yeah. I think you did this, I forget where you were when you did this, but when you first got your iPhone 13, you were doing some long exposures of fire. Remember
Oh
that?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's another way to play around with this stuff, right? Is handheld long exposures with an iPhone of moving objects.
Yeah, yeah, you use the live photo and then you turn it into a long exposure. Um, that's just one of my favorite ways to shoot just about anything that moves. But fire does look wonderful as a long exposure if you've never tried it. So
Yeah. Really cool shot. Love it.
yeah, good job on that, James. And I like the fact that you used a clear dish so that we could actually see some reflections in the dish itself and kind of have some translucency, and it kind of gives it a more of a revealing sense of the color and the shape and everything. So
Yeah, yeah, because he could have gone the opposite direction or a different direction and not included the reflection in there, and then the fire and the glass sort of container there would have been floating in an abyss, right? Which would have
right,
been interesting, but I don't think as effective as anchoring it to something so that our brains know that it's actually sitting on a surface.
absolutely, yeah, no, super cool, super cool.
Good job, James Glennie. Thank you. All right. And up next is Phil Lewenthal. Phil says, local effects of a distant fire. Yeah, welcome to California.
Yeah, yeah, that is a really cool shot.
That is really
Kind of.
interesting. Is your sensor okay after doing that shot? Like, I feel like every photo after this is going to have a circle in the upper right hand corner.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, you got to be careful with that.
Yep.
This is really fun. I think that what I like about it is that it takes a moment to look at the photo to kind of figure out what might be happening, right? So the shadows that are coming through the trees that are casting in kind of a weird space right in front, and then of course seeing the landscape in the back left hand corner. It's very surreal. Yeah, it's a
Mm-hmm.
really neat shot.
Yeah, it's almost like religious. I see this. I feel like you could see this on a religious poster or some kind of motivational poster with text overlaid on it. Like, it looks like it would lend itself well to that.
Right, absolutely, yeah. Again, though, to be fair, like I wouldn't know that this is because of fire.
Mm.
This could be morning fog. This could be a lot of things, but there's really no way to know that it's fire.
Yeah. Oh, I know Phil's backup argument is going to be, well, you see that giant ball of plasma up there that's keeping us all alive? That thing.
Yeah, yeah. But is that really fire? Is the sun really fire? Because it's not
It's
like it's kind of burning, but burning is a loose term for what the sun is actually doing.
it's more of like it's exploding all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool.
definitely.
I like the shot. Yeah, this is another background shot. This could be really cool.
Yeah, this is really great, Phil. I love this a lot. Now we talked about like the borders and when you could offset your image, and this is one of those cases that if you were to bump the image inside the frame up maybe 30% and leave a heavy chin across the bottom, it would work. It would elevate that image in the context of the frame a little bit.
Oh,
If that
interesting.
makes
Okay.
if that makes any sense.
It does. So you're saying just shift if you shifted the image. So if you did that, are you saying that all the borders, the only two borders that would be equal would be the left and the right because you'd be moving the
Correct.
image itself up, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. Yep. Keyline and all, just bump it all up. Leave a heavier border across the bottom, which is a nice sort of like a gallery mount presentation, like a traditional photo in a white mat type presentation. But it works visually too, because it lifts the image, and then contextually within the frame, or within, even within the outside of the frame of the image, it feels like you've moved it up in the compositional elements.
Yeah. I don't know. I need to see that. I need to see a gallery. Maybe I can go visit Peter's gallery. I need to see that in practice hanging on the wall because my brain, I used to cut mats. Like part of my Air Force training was we had to learn how to cut mats, and do all the things and bevel. I sliced off the tip of my finger trying to do all this stuff.
Yep.
And and part of that is, yeah, you can leave space at the bottom, but the space at the bottom meant still you were going to be equal distances on the top and the left and right side, but you leave a little chin down there for words or a plaque or something, not just as a compositional element. So my brain always wants to go to, if there's nothing that needs to go down there, symmetry is the way forward, right? And you're saying
Yeah.
no, not symmetry is not the way forward. That's really interesting.
Yeah. 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 It's interesting when you see them presented. I mean, the way it was explained to me and the way that I've sort of adopted is that it feels like you're setting the photo on like an easel or on a table or on a thing within the context of the matting and the frame that it's on. So it's all preferential, but it can be that last little bit that adds appreciation to your image, right? Like if somebody looks at that and they go like, wow, that just really feels great. It might just be the way you presented it.
Yeah. Interesting. So much to learn. And you complain about how complex the audio world is, right? Like audio people are like, what? Why?
I know. It's because I know photography, right? Like I know it. Like,
yeah, no, for sure. Be careful with this audio stuff, man. I'm telling you, it'll suck you in. Pretty soon
yeah,
you'll be like, all I need is this one thing and everything will be great. And then you need another one and another one and another one. And then
I had some friends come over. We shot a video, me doing some pottery, and he just recorded audio, right? Background sounds and all this kind of stuff. And he let me listen to it. That I could get so addicted to collecting sounds. It was
right?
Amazing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I've always wanted to do that, especially with these little things. You go out there with a decent mic and you could capture all kinds of, gnat sound and like add it to your cinemagraphs, right? So you need water dripping, go get some water. It's almost like it's like street photography but with sound. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. This one was, I like this. Phil, good job. Phil says this was, what'd you say, Phil? This was
Morning fog.
Morning fog. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's bring that there.
So yeah. See, no fire. There's no fire there, Phil.
Phil, just tell him the sun. The sun is fire.
Okay. No, jeez.
The sun is your fire. And if you got to prove it, just go outside. All right. Let's move on to the next one. Raphael is in here. The TimberGeek and Photo Nerd. Engine 15 versus the Burning Bush.
Oh, nice.
Look at that.
Nice. I'm kind of playing with how I want to crop it.
Yeah, I'm curious what you'll say about this one.
Okay, there's two sides to this image, right? There's the photojournalistic, let me tell you a story kind of thing, and then there is the artsy side of it, where I just love the smoke and how it's kind of like boiling in there, and the left hand side is like it's already consumed that it's all shrouded in smoke. Like that's the part that I like so much about this image. The fire truck, the photojournalistic side, that's not what I'm seeing here. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would almost crop this off just behind that white truck in the back, behind the fire truck,
Yeah,
and I would
right at
call it
that
like,
power line pole or whatever pole that is.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I love that as an image.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you're going to submit this to the newspaper or something, like this is the winner. This is an amazing shot, good timing, nice composition. This is the shot.
Yeah. Or with some firemen shooting water out on that thing. That would be cool too.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, how long are you going to hang around? But yeah.
Yeah, in a fire. Where's the fireman? Yeah, no, I agree with you. I was gonna say the same thing. It feels like two different shots. So you could have one shot as you describe it with a crop right here, and it's all about the fire and its path of destruction, right? And these unsuspecting plants over here that are soon to be gone, right? That is
Right.
really interesting. The other side of the shot could be, like you said, photojournalistic, where you include the fire truck and maybe less of the burnt area and make that less of the story. So the story is about this truck pulling up to take care of this fire that's blazing out of control. I tend to like your way better. I like the story of the path of destruction, and you can see the movement from left to right as the fire moves through the scene. I think I like that
Right.
a lot better. Plus, you don't have all these other cars in there, and what's this car back here, and the power lines, all that stuff that's taking me out of the moment.
Right. And you can sort of, tell me how your thoughts are in this, but I think that even photojournalistically, you have to look at the scene and decide, like, how am I going to tell the story the best? And compositionally and visually, what is going to work the best, right? And so for me, like, this image is very flat. There's not a lot of depth. Everything's in focus. Maybe it was shot wide or whatever, but everything's in focus. So I would think like, oh, I'm going to move to the left. So I want to shoot past the smoke and the fire at the fire truck. So it's just smoke, fire, fire truck, or wait for the fire truck to get someplace where they're stationary. And then I'm going to use like the hoses or some kind of leading line, right? Like simplify the composition in a way that captures everything. Sometimes you can't do that. Like I get it. So,
Yeah.
but I'm always thinking how to simplify my scene, even in a fluid situation.
Yeah, like how would you work a bride into this shot? I don't know.
She would be standing there with the blowtorch, looking all innocent like.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Really cool. Yeah.
See how easy I come up with those ideas.
I know. They just flow. They just flow.
I know. I know.
All right, cool shot. Definitely fits in our theme. Fire. Thank
Yeah,
you,
it's very good.
Raphael. Next shot is from Troy Miller from my late. Was this last night or night before last?
This would have been Friday. Yeah, I shot that on
Friday.
Friday.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, tell us about this.
So this was at the very end of the night. They bring out this. This is one of those little portable little fire pit things, and it was very much at the end of the night. So we usually try to get the couple away from the party to do a closure shot, and it gives us a chance to say goodbye and make sure we got all the shots they wanted today. So we just sat them down and said, "Look, we just want you guys to relax and kind of snuggle," and they just did this, and perfect. So I had already set everything up. So this was shot like I think I labeled in there as like 12 or 16,000 ISO, the 8518 on the Z9, and I isolated them against that frame of the window so we didn't have any lines going through their heads or anything,
Yeah.
and that was it.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
great.
very quick.
Any heavy post processing, or was this kind of
No,
you got
no.
it?
Yeah, this is pretty much straight out of camera. I think I reduced the saturation a little bit because I do shoot at like 5200 Kelvin. So shooting by the fire and at that sort of warm color temperature, it's really, really warm. So I just brought it down so some of the colors came out in the background, but other than that, that was it.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
You're still in love with that Z9. That 85, that
Yeah.
85 1.8 you have, is that your main go-to lens for these kinds of events?
Yeah, the 85 lives on the camera most of the time, especially in the evenings. One, because the focusing is really really phenomenal. Like it just grabbed their eyes, no problem in this light situation. And I can shoot by natural light in a wedding environment or by firelight and get really wonderful images without having to pop in artificial light, which I think can really kill the mood sometimes.
Yeah.
So, and then at this wedding, the videographers had set up their own lights, and so I basically turned my strobes off and just worked by their lights, and it just makes for a natural, softer light because there's more ambient light bouncing around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't have competing light sources, so.
Right. Right. I'm curious, just from a post processing, a wedding photographer post processing standpoint, when you have a shot like this and you're preparing this one, say you were going to include this one in the set of images that you present to them, right? Would the end image have this little thing that he has on his chin there, or would you nuke that out of there?
No, this is exactly how I would present it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be delivering 500, 600 images. I can't go through and do that level of work on them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If they order this file and it goes in a book or it's a reorder or something, I will definitely go through and I will tune up little things like that highlight in the lower left hand corner. I'll take that out, the one that's in the background.
Yeah.
I'll definitely look at their face and make sure that everything, looks nice.
Yeah.
Lighting can bring up, things on someone's face that they wouldn't normally see in normal light. So I've got to realize like that's them, but my lighting is making it more exaggerated. So I'll tune it up, and
Mm-hmm.
and that way it's appealing to them.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. Yeah, a lot of photographers would say, "Yeah, I would nuke that out of there," and then other photographers would say, "I would only remove it if it's a temporary blemish, right? If it's a pimple or something like
Yeah.
that, I'll take it out. But if that's a mole or a birthmark or something, it stays, right?"
Yeah, and I'll lighten those too if I have to. I'll lighten them just to take the focus off because in reality, we see ourselves all the time. So somebody could have a mole or a birthmark and they just don't see it, right? But then you
Mm-hmm.
show them a photograph of themselves and it's lit in a way that it really dramatically shows that feature. They're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize." So I'll minimize it to where I think it's there, you can see it and it's normal. And
Mm-hmm.
it's, yeah, it's still them.
Yeah, really cool. All right, and are you the last? Well, let's see. Let's look in the see more just in case. No,
I think we have one more.
there one more.
I think we have Nora.
Nora blowing in the wind. All right, look at that. Looks like a duck.
A duck? It looks like a duck.
I see a duck. It just kind of the
How do you
duck beak. I don't know why. My brain is weird.
duck? There's no duck.
There's a duck in there. There's a
There's
duck.
no duck. It's a tilted candle. Is definitely what I see. A tilted candle.
It's a blowing candle. The wind is blowing the candle. That's what's happening. All right. What do you think?
Yeah. I love the fact that the flame is not your standard vertical, static, candle flame. I love the fact that it's blowing one way or another, and I think that's very very cool. Something I'm assuming that was intentional by Nora, because she's
Yeah.
very creative. So
Yeah.
I really do like that. Um, I don't. I'm not sure that it's in focus, right? Like like where the focus is. Maybe it's actually focused on the wick, and we don't see it because the fire is softening it. But the front
Mm-hmm.
edge of the candle is soft,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not seeing anything in focus. So my brain's like, should it be in focus?
You're fighting with it, yeah. And I see you looking
Yeah,
close to see, right? And if you have to do that, right? If you have to kind of look
yeah,
close to see, what you see in there, then it's
yeah.
taking you out of the image a little bit.
Yeah. And I might take half of the vertical space off. I know you guys hear me say that a lot, but I don't think that all that negative space at the top is really adding to this image. Um, so I would probably tighten it up a little bit, and I think then the flame itself really stands out. And then I'm not sure what it is if you see it on your screen there, but in the front, just below the wick, it looks like there's like two black channels that are. Can you see that on the?
No, I can't see on my screen.
So
Like
if you
right
put your
around
mouse
here?
uh I don't see
Oh
your
wait.
mouse
Oh,
anymore,
here we
but
go. Right here.
yeah, there it is. Yeah, right in that area. It looks like there's maybe it's actually like, some wax that had fallen over the edge of the candle, and um it's creating a shadow or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
I would probably take that out so that the tonality of the candle is even all the way across, from the little bit of light you're getting on the left all the way to the black
Hmm.
on the right.
Really nice. This
And
is a
and
this is an exercise in Curtis Jones minimalism as well, right?
yeah. Yeah, this is really wonderful. And the candle's tilted to the left, so that's kind of messing with my brain a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. How do you like the square crop?
I love square crops. Where I'm struggling with this one is I feel like our subject is almost dead center in the square crop, and I don't think that it needs to be. We have so much darkness all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
Although TimberGeek is right, it's space for text. So, it's a nice commercial shot right there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Always got to leave space for text.
yeah, yeah.
Cool shot. All right, lots of fire. I have a feeling you have a favorite in all of this, though.
I I definitely have a favorite. I love them all because they're all fire related.
Yeah.
But
All right. Yeah, I think
make
that
sure we don't have any
is.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm double checking. Nope, I think that's it. All right. What's the what?
Uh,
Wait, I
yeah,
think I
you've
know what your.
already.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know what your favorite's gonna be already.
yeah, yeah,
Well, why don't
yeah.
you go
It's
ahead
gonna
and
be
reveal? As soon as you reveal it, I'll press the button.
James's image, James Glennie. Yeah, I
There you go.
I just love that. I think that it's such a one is a perfect subject for for this category, right? Like it's the perfect image, and it's abstract yet we know what it is, right? Like, oh, this is just, yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah. No, it is really cool. Yeah, like I said, the ultimate compliment is it's gonna be on the iPhone, right? And and because I'm me, right? It's gonna be on the iPhone and the iPad and all the devices. I like it. Really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. Super
Good.
wonderful. Yeah, wonderful shot. Like, good job, everybody.
Yeah.
Very,
Bravo.
very, very nice set of images. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and next week on the 27th, in terms of topic, we need to pick the topic. And you actually need to pick two topics. So you got to pick the topic for the 27th, and we need a topic for the next actual critique, which is going to be on, where's my calendar? So the 27th is the group critique. And then on the 4th, oh, the 4th of July? On the 4th of July is the the real one, not the real one, but the you and I critique, or the
Yeah. Okay.
guided
All
the
right.
guided critique. So the
I got you.
27th, we need to pick one for both of those. So
Got it. I got it. It's right here. I'm ready. You ready? You ready
all
for it?
right, yeah, give me
Okay.
the 27th first. So a week from today, the group critique. What's that one?
Wood.
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 Okay,
Guess
I
who
have to.
suggested that in the chat?
Who suggested that in the chat? I got so many windows going on here. Who said wood? I don't know.
TimberGeek. Yeah. TimberGeek suggested wood. I asked if anybody had any suggestions, and then Phil suggested. I think it was Phil that suggested that we do a style rather than a specific object. And so I think we should do black and white photography for
Hmm,
our next critique.
I love it, and that'll be on the 4th of July.
Let's be a little bit more. Let's call it monochromatic instead of black and white. So it could be a single color, right? You could tone it, but it's monochromatic, which I think gives more latitude to be creative in some stuff. So
I agree. Yeah, very good. Yeah, because black and white is you. Yeah, for all the reasons. Yeah, that's
yeah.
good. Okay, cool. Monochromatic. Let me write that down because I wrote down black and white. Monochromatic. Okay, monochromatic, and that will be on the 4th of July, and wood will be on the 27th, and that'll be our open critique. And if you guys remember, based on Phil Lewenthal's suggestion, our open critique is basically that, right? We're all going to jump into Zoom and show and tell and just have a casual discussion about shots, with the topic being wood. Done. Wood. Very cool. I'm glad, I'm pleased that we didn't go for the low-hanging fruit for the 4th of July. Remember, there's always fireworks or patriotism or something like that, which doesn't necessarily translate to the multinational nature that TWIP is, right?
No, it was fairly fairly a flop. I think it was a flop when we did that.
It was, yeah. But good. I think the topic-based ones like monochrome and wood is going to be really, really interesting. I have a feeling people like you will submit photos of burning wood, right? Look at him. He sees it in his head right now. Look at him.
Oh, so many ideas. Yeah.
Burn it down.
If I have time, I will definitely shoot something new. So,
I've been wanting to actually take a road trip out to Muir Woods up here. Have you been up there to the forest, the redwood forest?
No.
Yeah, I want to. That's where they shot Planet of the Apes. So I want to take a road trip over there and see what that looks like this time of year. That might be good.
That would be good.
So what's next for you, man? What's on your docket? Recording interviews aside from that?
Well, I have a small wedding hiatus. So for the next 2 months, I don't have any weddings, which is nice because it's just going to be hot. So a lot of home projects and a lot of personal projects. I want to start, doing some of the podcast recording you and I had talked about. And, I got to find something new that I can photograph here at home, like some other obsession. Try to get away from fire.
Cooking. Well, there's fire, but
I'm not cooking, and I could photograph. You
don't want to get into cooking. I was thinking about taking some cooking classes, to be honest with you.
I do not want to cook. I do not. No.
Why?
Because it's a golf. I don't want to get into golf either because it's a whole obsession, and there's all the new tools and toys that I already have enough.
Okay.
Right.
I'm glad you didn't say. I'm glad you didn't say I don't want to cook because that's woman's work.
Oh God, I'd never say that out loud.
You would out loud. And if you did, you would mean it with endearment because they can do it better than you can.
Well, Margie the other day said, "Hey, I'd love to get a new Apple Watch. Or I'd love to get a new watch." And because hers quit working, and I said, "Why? There's a clock over the stove." I did.
So how'd that couch feel when you're sleeping on it? Is that nice, comfortable? How's your back?
That's not true.
I know.
But, yeah, I know.
I know. Wow, that's good. All right, thanks for demonetizing this video for us.
You never know.
Flagged for misogyny. Oh man! All right, we'll leave it right there. Thanks everybody for joining us on this 193rd photo critique. Topic was fire. And just a quick reminder: next week on the 27th of June at noon Pacific. Actually, that one's not going to be at noon Pacific. I'm not sure what the time is, so check the calendar. The events calendar inside of the community for the exact time of when that group critique will be. I think we're kind of oscillating between times of what works best for, the globe. And then on the 4th of July at noon U.S. Pacific time, we will do our, what critique? What is it? Monochrome. Monochromatic. It's all about monochrome. So singular color, not necessarily black and white. Thanks everybody for joining the chat. Make sure you like this video so that we can get some algorithm juice into this thing. We will leave it right there. Troy, thanks again, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
All right. See you, folks.